Today, we're going to be taking the first look at the Scouring of the Shire book.
Hey guys, thank you for joining us. I am Top Table Steve.
And I'm Top Table Ben.
And don't forget guys, if it is your first time watching one of our videos, make sure you subscribe. There is a vast array of Middle Earth videos in our back catalogue if that is what you're into, as well as plenty of other systems. So check that out. So today guys, we are very, very excited. As you know, me and Ben are two massive Middle Earth fans. And we have got our grubby little hands on the new Scouring of the Shire Supplement book. This is something that I've been very, very keen to get my hands on since we went to Warhammer Fest.
Yeah.
And we were shown all the teasers, and it is an absolutely beautiful book.
It's a gem.
I'm
loving it so far.
Yeah, we've had a thumb through it.
Yeah.
We've picked out a few things that we want to maybe talk about a little, but we'll go a little bit more in depth. But straight off the bat, I do have to say, very, very happy with this. It's going to be great for us as far as filming content in the future, but we'll come on to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fantastic. Your thoughts?
So initially, this is slightly shorter than the Gondor at War book. So I think the Gondor at War book was about 120 odd pages. I think this is about 88 pages, something like that. So it's a little bit shorter, but it's jam-packed full of content, and it's jam-packed full of things that we haven't necessarily seen in previous supplements or in previous books.
Yeah.
So I think we'll touch on that in a little bit more detail when we get to it shortly. Yeah,
there's some very exciting stuff in there. So yeah, let's go on.
Let's crack on.
Just seeing that map, it just gets the juices flowing, doesn't it?
That's a full-on map of the Shire as well.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Very cool.
I love it. I love it. And then we've got the nice art, which we've seen glimpses of in the movie, in the flashback scenes of the extended versions. And I've actually used this in my Scouring of Cheshire sort of marketing material. Keep your eye out for that, by the way. That's going to be the league finale on the GBHL. Yeah, December. Yeah, so it's not far off. So straight away we have an introduction and a contents page, which is self-explanatory. Tells us where things are in the book for easy reference. Yeah, and it tells us a little bit about what we've got coming up in the different chapters and sort of
different sections of the book. So we'll just skip over that, and we'll go first into the history of the Shire.
This is really nice.
This is really cool. Now, I've had quite a decent read of this so far, and there's a lot of stuff in that had happened in the Shire that I wasn't sort of aware of. And if you've just had a read through the books, or you've just watched the films, then there's a lot of stuff that you probably wouldn't know about. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about this because obviously you guys will want to enjoy it yourselves. But I think this is a really kind of interesting read, even if you're kind of not necessarily into lore, you're just kind of into the games. I think it's just a really, really worth a read to get a bit of
sets the tone, doesn't it?
It does. It gives you a bit of background into the Shire.
And I like this timeline as well with sort of standout occasions in the timeline of the Shire. It's great.
Yeah, cool. So
let's keep going.
Let's move on.
Scenarios.
Cool. So right. Let's take a quick look at the scenarios now. For me, Scouring of the Shire kind of really lends itself to scenario play. It's for me at least, it's a very iconic chapter in the book, and I think you can have some really cool and very, as I said, iconic scenarios that you can play out from that chapter. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes in these scenarios.
How many have we got altogether?
So in total, there are 19 scenarios in this book. However, 16 of those form part of the the main scenario the narrative section, and then there are 3 extra that are in the appendices in the back, but we will come on to that in a little bit more detail shortly.
We will. Let's dig in.
So,
this for me, as soon as I seen it, the first one, I was like, get in. This is well, as you know, and as anyone who's seen any of my terrain builds, is going to be one of the scenarios that I cannot wait to play out on camera.
You've got a very beautiful prancing pony model, so it'd be great to get that on camera again.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be about the right size as well.
It does, yeah. So what I'm really loving about, which is something I've noticed in these scenarios already, is some of them aren't necessarily played on 4x4 tables like a lot of scenarios that we generally see across the across these scenarios in the books. A lot of these are played on 2x2 boards or 2x4 boards, and there are a few that are played on 4x4 boards as well. My guess is that because they're hobbits, they're only moving 4 inches at a time. For them to cross a 4x4 board, it might take them a little while. Plus, the other thing that I've noticed as well is that there is generally very few participants in these battles, so it's sometimes a handful of models on each side. I think the lowest one I counted, I think it was about 9 models in total in use. So it's great, and you said it almost feels like it's got a battle companies type feel to it.
This is something, you know what, if you've got an evening in the week where your pals coming around, you want to get a few games in, rather than having that sort of long, laborious, let's write 600 point list, let's set this big 6x4 table up. You can do it on your coffee table on a 2.
Yeah, exactly.
A Realm of Battle tile.
And John, this is something that I think the game has almost been missing to some extent for a while. It's great to see stuff that is now on smaller tables that I can fit, as you say, on a coffee table in my living room. So we've got Skirmish and Bree. We've got the Ruffians arrive. Maggots Farm.
That's the one that goes on the slightly bigger board. That's 4x2.
That's 4x2, but again, it's only got 9 participants in it. On one side you've only got Farm and Maggot with
and a Scarecrow.
With Grip, Fang and Wolf. But again, it's a really kind of smaller scale. So even though it's on a bigger table, it's still a small scale in terms of numbers. Move on to the Old Mill. Now this is a scenery piece that I know you're itching to build.
I will be building that.
If you get some time to do it.
I will be building that.
The Mayor's Arrest. And I think this is something that I did predict as well. So looking at the model for Will Whitfoot, who is the Mayor of Hobbiton, Mayor of Hobbiton. The model of him is when he is sort of quite rotund and chubby. So this is kind of before he was incarcerated by the Ruffians. So it kind of represents him when he was at his prime, should we say? Because it is sort of said that when he came out of prison at the end of Scouring the Shire, once he was freed, he was very sort of thin. So this is something I kind of did have in my mind that we would be seeing. The Death of Lotho. The Burning of Woody End.
As you can see, we're flicking. We don't want you to be freeze framing these and printing them out. We're giving you a taste. But I mean, the book itself, forgetting about the scenarios, it's beautiful.
It's great.
It's beautiful. The artwork's great. You've got the lovely miniatures, which are obviously professionally painted at Games Workshop, which everyone likes to look at.
The artwork's just amazing, just lovely. One thing that I would have liked to have seen in some of these artworks, though, is some of the new models. So the newest model that I've seen in here is the Merry from the Eowyn and Merry model. So I would have potentially liked to have seen maybe a few more shots of the of some of the new models, because we've seen them all already. But then I don't know where this was up to when we were showing
it could have gone to print before they were finished sculpting them, or
some of them may have got pushed back, or there's loads of reasons for it.
It would have been nice to see them.
Not even going to speculate on that. The Arrest of Folk of Boffin, the Old Storehouse, the Bounders Strike Back, Brock and Borings, the Lockholes, Attack on Tuckborough.
That looks like a biggish one.
That does, I
say biggish, and it's got 16. Well, it's got 17, 18 hobbits in it. And we're calling that a big one in the group that we've seen. So that gives you an idea.
If you compare that to like Gondor at War and things, where you're playing kind of quite relatively big numbers on each side, this is very sort of refreshing. Old Cotton's Farm, we're kind of getting towards the end of the narrative campaign here. And then the Battle of Bywater, which I believe is going to be the last one, which is kind of the final culmination of the Scouring of the Shire, and it's where kind of the remaining Sharky's rogues and the Ruffians kind of take on the rest of the hobbits, I guess.
Great.
So that looks like a really fun scenario. This one is, I think this is the biggest one. I think there's 24 hobbits in here.
And that's on a 2x2 again?
That's on a 2x2. So you've got quite a few models in a really sort of relatively small space. So I'm looking forward to playing that one out.
I cannot wait to film these.
I
cannot wait to film these. I know that these are going to look beautiful on film.
They will.
We've already got a lot of the terrain.
Hobbit holes.
Well, we've got the Bree board.
So
we've got Bree buildings. We've got Prancing Pony. That's great. We've got the Shire, but we've got one of 2 Shire boards. One's not finished, but we've got a Shire board. We've got the general sort of rolling hills board that we can put hobbit holes on for different areas of the Shire. I just think that this is going to look beautiful on camera.
This is going to be great.
It's going to be a lot of fun to play.
Definitely.
We need to paint the hobbits now.
We do need to paint the hobbits. 24 hobbits, I think it is. So that's fine. And as we saw in Gondor at War as well, you can have like a linked campaign where whether you win or lose, you have kind of advantages or disadvantages as you play the next game.
Yep.
So next up is the armies. So first up, I'm going to guess it's the good armies of the Shire. Goes through some key models. Again, this is a very similar format.
I really like this.
Yeah.
I really like that they're doing this. It points out for someone who's new to the game.
Yeah.
Someone who's new to the game, the system, the lore, might not know who these are. So it's great to say, right, these are your key models in the army that can do this or bump the army in this way or that way. It's great. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Which is fantastic. And then we are into the new profiles, so we don't want you to be looking at these, but there are 9 new good profiles, which is fantastic. I don't think we've seen 9 new kind of hero profils in a long time, so it's great to see.
There was a lot revealed at Warhammer Fest.
There was.
I was like, every time you flicked a slide, I was like, my jaw must have been down here by the end of it. It's crazy.
So I think a lot of these we have already seen. However, there are 2 that are listed in here that we haven't seen yet.
Naughty GW.
Naughty GW indeed. And the only, again, this is speculation. However, these are 2 characters that sort of did appear in the films.
Yeah.
Only very minor parts, but I'm guessing that it's have some sort of sign-off process with those actors and actresses. So first up is Rosy Cotton, which wasn't one that I was expecting, I must admit. As you can imagine, her special rules are very much linked to Sam, which is great, and it's incredibly thematic.
Yeah.
And the other is Hamfast Gaffer Gamgee. So this is Sam's father. He is kind of a very keen gardener, so his special rule is very much linked to his gardening, which again makes him very unique.
Yeah.
And what I really like about each of these profiles is, if you look at the actual stat line, there's only so much a Hobbit can do. You're not going to be seeing any Fight 6 heroes with 3 attacks and 3 points of might in here. They've all got a very typically Hobbit stat line.
Yeah.
But each of them has got a very cool special rule, and they're all unique, they're all very different, so I think that's what is going to make this really exciting compared to other just other profiles in the game, really.
I think this is a more fun supplement.
Yes, definitely.
But obviously everything's there for you to use in competitive play if you so wish, and Hobbits are not to be sniffed at. Hobbit armies do very, very well, and the fact that they're getting all these extra little bumps and things like that is great. It's great. It's going to be a lot of fun to play.
So you say that you get a lot of hobbits.
Yes.
You can also, a lot of them can shoot. Even if they're not carrying bows, they can throw stones. Yeah. If you throw enough stones, you are going to kill some stuff eventually with great enough numbers.
There is an old saying: if you throw enough beep at the wall, some of it will stick.
Some of it will stick. Exactly. I just want to kind of cover very briefly on one other stat line and one other profile that appears in this book. And it is Baldo Tulpenny.
I knew you were going to talk about Baldo.
Yeah. So this is the one that was invented by Adam Troke, wasn't it? In a very long time ago, article in White Dwarf. Now, the reason that I think this one is unique is that he has got a special rule called Master of Traps, which allows him to set traps. And we won't discuss the traps too much now because there is a section on that coming in a little while, so we'll cover that one off in a second. Next up, we've got Sharky's Rogues. Again, there's like a strengths and weaknesses and the key models for this army as well. And there are 4 new profiles for this force. So these are ones that we've already seen.
I mean, you was with me. I fell in love with these as soon as I seen them. I love. I mean, I love the old Ruffian models. Anyway. Love them. I think they're great. I think they're so characterful. These additions have just made me fall in love with them even more, and I cannot wait to get my hands on
it. It kind of fills out that kind of ruffian force, because
makes them an army.
It does. That's exactly it. So we've got Sid Briarthorn, Rowan Thistlewood, Bill Fernie, and Ted Sandyman. Now, Ted Sandyman is the first evil hobbit that we have seen. So he does kind of sit within the evil side of things. And he is able to take hobbit militia in his as part of his army as well. So you can technically have a warband
evil hobbits.
Of evil hobbits.
I'm looking forward to painting a very sort of dark grey, dark brown coloured warband of hobbits. That'll be fun.
That'll be cool.
Scars and cuts and
because they're like getting involved with the rogues.
Yeah.
Excellent. And just a couple of rules that I would like to just sort of pick out as things that are quite interesting to me. Now, it's a rule that all the kind of the ruffian heroes have got, and it's called put 'em in chains. And basically, it means that if you roll a d6, instead of making strikes, you can roll a d6, and if the result is higher than the strength, it instantly acts as though the model is paralysed. So against things that are low strength, it's going to be great. But also, I can see where this could be useful, where you don't necessarily want to kill models at the end of the game. So rather than kind of wounding and killing and removing models from play and getting people close to that break point, when you want the game to last those extra couple of turns, you could potentially use this to your advantage. It means that those models can't fight back, but they are still technically alive.
It's a fun little rule. Is it something that you're going to see at tournaments? Probably not, but it's something you're playing with your pals. You're playing
sneaky
rules.
rules.
It's just like put them in chains, and it's great. Like I said, there are scenarios where you don't want to kill your enemy too quick. If you're ruffians and you're playing hobbits, or in any of these scenarios in the book, it's going to come in very, very handy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a fun factor, isn't it?
Exactly.
Fun factor.
That is exactly it.
Do you reckon we're going to see many converted hobbits in chains?
We might do. I think there's a few models out there which some of the older models that could be converted quite well. There's the Frodo who's kind of sat down. You could model some chains on him.
I already thought of like a chain gang.
Yeah.
Where there's about 5 of them together, with like a jeweler's chain between.
Yeah, that could be quite
awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, that would look cool.
That could be cool.
Don't steal my ideas. I can always see Dave Fredericks will have that done.
It's already done. I bet it's already done. Yeah. I bet he actually did it and he told you.
Yeah.
Cool. And then next we move on to the Legendary Legions. Again, this was something that was new for Gondor at War. And I think we're all very excited to see what Legendary Legions could be made out of the Hobbits and out of the Ruffians. So there's the kind of the rules for how Legendary Legions work there, much like we've seen already.
Well, I just touched on that. These, I can't remember if I've seen these in Gondor at War, where it does actually give you, they don't get their army bonus. It specifies it. Did it say that in Gondor at War?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Because I remember there was a lot of questions about, they get...
A lot of the time, like just from reading through these, they already have their army bonuses, but then their army bonuses are already built into the Legendary Legions. So I can't remember.
But it just clears that up anyway, which is good.
Absolutely. So the first of the Legendary Legions is Defenders of the Shire. So in terms of army composition, which you can see on this side, it gives you a list of all the profiles that can be part of this Legendary Legion. Just a couple of rules that that you kind of must follow. Is Defenders of the Shire force must always include Meriadoc, Captain of the Shire, and Peregrine, Captain of the Shire. And Meriadoc must always be the army's leader, which is to be expected, really. They were the ones that kind of really led the freeing of the Shire, or the scouring,
the revolution,
the revolution. And the hobbits from the Hobbit militia in Merry's Warband must be upgraded to Badlin Brandy Bucks, which I think in most cases you would probably do anyway.
Yeah, you'd want to.
Yeah, and then Hobbit archers in Pippin's Warband must be upgraded to Tookish hunters. So those are just a few stipulations just around those around the army composition.
Yeah.
Now let's have a look at the special rules that this army gets. There's quite a few there, isn't there?
There is.
So do you want to have a quick look through?
Yeah, so the first one is called Fear Fire Foes. Friendly Hobbit models gain the Woodland Creature special rule.
So they already had that as part of their army bonus. So that's already kind of built into this, which is great.
You've got Heroes of the Shire. Friendly Hobbit hero models may benefit from the Standfast of Merry.
That's good.
Yeah, very good. That is something that, especially if your heroes are low courage, is something that can sort of you become unstuck with that big time in games.
Because looking at some of those profiles, they are quite sort of low courage, so it's great that there is an added element of protection for those heroes,
which is very, very nice. We've also got Lying in Wait. After both sides have deployed, but before the first turn of the game begins, a player using a Defenders of the Shire force may place 8 25mm trap markers on the board. 2 of each snare trap, tripwire trap, pitfall trap, and dummy trap markers following the rules given on page 64.
So if you take Baldo Tulpenny, you can have up to 16 traps.
That's crazy.
And you can put them all across the board, and just basically be a bit of a pain for your opponent.
They're just annoying, aren't they?
And again, we'll cover those in a little bit more detail shortly. But I think that just again makes this army completely unique, and it's not like anything we've seen before.
Well, I was going to say it's not like anything we've seen. So like, I think I heard or I've seen a thread on the GBHL, and people were saying that the trap tokens, they're not going to be that great. You just avoid them. That's not always possible.
Not when you got 16 on the table.
No, and if you're going for an objective and there's bottlenecks to get to that objective, that's why I like a busy board.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got a busy board and you've got hobbits and you're using this legendary legion, you can put them traps in places where your opponent doesn't have a choice. They have to pass through it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the last special rule that they've got is Ambush.
At the start of the game, before any models are deployed, you may select a single warband led by a Hobbit hero that is not Frodo, Sam, Merry or Pippin. That warband is ambushing and does not deploy on the board as normal. Instead, once both players have completed their third move phase, the ambushing warband must choose one of the following. Move onto the board from any board edge via the rules for reinforcements, or deploy in or within 1 inch of a wood, building, rocky outcrop, or other similar piece of terrain that hobbits could hide in.
So that's very similar to the Goblin Mercenary rules, which I know they've been kind of used to quite good effect.
Yeah, it's a great effect.
So if you're playing something like Reconnoiter, could be very useful. And I know they only kind of come on as I think it's third turn. But still, you know, especially if you're hobbits and you're moving that kind of a little bit slower, you're not going to be that far up the board by turn 3. So it would be great to have. You could potentially, surround your enemy, or just get them into a position where they are a little bit more useful to you.
And in the back of your mind, you know that in turn 3 you're going to have an extra full warband just appearing, like,
out of nowhere,
no casualties. Whereas hobbits by turn 3 you could have took a lot of casualties, but with this rule, that's not
could be very useful. So that I think there is a lot of stuff there that really kind of adds to that army and makes them potentially that little bit more competitive.
Definitely.
Is it an army that you'll be playing much of, do you think?
Yeah. In the sense that we don't play much for fun anymore.
No.
But it's Gondor at War come out, I was very excited because we knew we were getting new models, but myself and we both kind of explored army builds for Gondor, Minas Tirith quite a lot. It was how I got into the game.
They're armies that we love with.
Yeah, so I bought the new models and everything, and I've not really played with Gondor that much. Whereas this, we've got new models. It's an army that I've had sitting in a tub for probably 5-6 years, 600 points worth of hobbits, and I've just never got around to painting it because the thought of painting 600 points worth of hobbits filled me with dread. If I'm honest. This is going to give me a good excuse to put a massive dint in that.
Yes,
in the sense that we're getting new models which are cool, which I'm going to want to paint. I don't have to paint 600 points worth of hobbits to play the scenarios in this book. That is fantastic. Because once I've painted, let's just say I've got to paint 2 warbands. Once I've painted them 2 warbands, I've not got to paint that much more at the next sitting to have a decent sized hobbit army. So I'm really excited for this book, and it's definitely getting my juices flowing for Lord of the Rings again, without a doubt.
Good stuff. The next legendary legion is the Chiefs Ruffians, which we kind of expected to see one good and one evil. So army composition is exactly what you would expect. There are a few additional rules. The Chiefs Ruffians force may include warbands of between 10 to 12 ruffians without the need for a hero, which is much like we've seen with their current special rules anyway. They nominate a single warrior to become the captain for that army. But these warbands may only be included if they've taken all the other heroes.
Yes.
So it's not something that you can just include just to span the army. You need to have those sort of slightly, I say, bigger heroes in there as well. And Ted Sandyman may still include Hobbit Militia in his warband, even though they are not technically listed in the army composition.
Cool.
So, special rules. Should we have a look at them?
Yeah, so first special rule is called You Do What Sharky Says. Sharky's Standfast affects the entire battlefield. That is huge.
Yeah. Especially for these guys, because they are low courage.
Yes.
So it kind of makes Sharky that kind of target priority for you, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and if you're playing this army, Sharky is pretty much going to be at the back of your lines.
Yeah,
you know, you're going to be
hidden away. He's not
safe.
going to be in your front lines. He's not going to be kind of taking leading the charge as such.
No, he's not like your Saruman profile.
No,
he's totally different. He's not. He's a bit of a weak link, if anything.
Yeah.
But you'd have him in your army just for that rule.
Definitely.
Just for that rule.
Definitely.
That's really good. Anything that's for Standfast, normally you get like 12-inch Standfast, and I thought that was great.
Yeah.
That's board wide is
amazing.
Yeah.
Really good. Got Sharky's Wrath.
Sharky's Wrath. Sharky gains the hatred with the keyword Hobbit special rule, which
you'd expect him to. I'm surprised he didn't have that in the first place.
Yeah. The Chiefs Whips. Ruffian models gain +1 to hit when using a whip. Nice rule.
Yeah,
cool. Nice rule.
Yeah, it's not OP. It's not going to make a huge difference. I wouldn't have thought, maybe.
No.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
Got the Chief's Command. Ruffian models within 6 inches of Sharky may use his courage value instead of their own when making courage tests, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're trying to charge things that are terrifying.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be good. And then you've got strength in numbers. While this force is not broken, Ruffian models gain +1 to their courage value. So what I'm seeing is there's a lot of courage modifiers in there.
Yeah.
Again, for very low courage models, I think it will make quite a difference.
without doubt.
You know, and I'm glad to see that there isn't kind of anything that makes this army kind of. What am I trying to say? It's not making them that much stronger, but actually it's keeping them around kind of at the end of the battle a little bit more. And I think that kind of shows Sharky or Saruman's influence over them, which I think, again, is very thematic.
Yeah. I find since the new incarnation of the rules, we're seeing a lot of rules that are playing around with buffing courage, which is nice because the old meta was there was certain armies that you had, and this was probably even though you never really seen Ruffians very often, other low courage armies, the aim of the game when you're playing against them is to break them, and then they just
crumble.
sort themselves out and run off. It's things like this that are making that not the case, and have to make you think a little bit differently about.
And it makes you want to take that legendary legion just to make sure that when you get to that break point, they're not all just scalping. You've got you've got Sharky there.
You've got Sharky hid behind a tree somewhere at the back of the board.
Exactly. Keeping all you guys on the board. And even if they don't, then there are some other little buffs there as well, which is fantastic.
It's really cool. I'm really happy with that.
So next up, let's take a look at the rules for traps. So there is a little section here just about how to make the traps, because this, in my mind, I've been sort of thinking how would you do this, and I was thinking, are they going to be tokens or anything like that? But the advice in the book is that you use a 25mm base, which is kind of upturned. You have the base on the trap on the inside of the base, or like in the upturned kind of dish section. So actually you can have it completely hidden, so you don't know exactly what is underneath it, which is fantastic.
Until you flip them, you don't know what they are, and it's a great idea. It's a great idea.
Absolutely.
It's a nice touch.
Great idea. So there are 4 different types of traps in total. You've got a tripwire trap, you've got a snare trap, you've got a pitfall trap, and you have got a dummy trap. Dummy trap, as you would imagine, just does nothing. They do any model that does move into it though does stop moving, because obviously they are inspecting it as though it was a trap.
So with the traps themselves, we're not going to go into and read word for word what the traps do, because we don't want to spoil it, and B, we don't just want to narrate this book through this video. We want you to get hold of the book and read through it yourself and find out. It's pretty self-explanatory what the traps do by their names and the impact they have on anyone that might be unfortunate enough to fall into them.
Yep.
So we'll move on from there. So the next section in the book is a section that really did put a smile on my face.
Yeah, me too.
When I used to buy these journey books and the different source books for Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, it was the how to build bits.
Yeah.
As anyone who knows me knows that that's my thing.
And Joe, that's the reason that I've bought a lot of the old supplements.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily for the profiles or anything
Yeah.
like that. It's the how to build.
Yeah, they're in the old rule books.
Yeah.
Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers. They've all got the how to build, and they're great. Some of them you look back now and they're very basic, but it wouldn't take much just to add a few details to get a really effective project out of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, Scouring of the Shire, and with the release of the new Hobbit Hole fascias from Forge World.
If you haven't already seen it, we've done a review because we were lucky enough to pick one up at Warhammer Fest.
Yeah, it's old news for us.
It's old news for us. If you haven't already watched that, go and have a look. Kind of Steve, you unboxed it and kind of gave us your initial thoughts on that, and you can have a better look at the model as well.
Yeah, it's great as well.
So this is basically how to use that kit.
Yeah, it's the instructions that you would like to get in the kit, what they put in a book, which is very nice. Keep doing this, Games Workshop. This is fantastic. By the way, so it tells you gather your pieces, tells you what you need, extra materials for different little add-ons you might want, the basic shape, tells you how to create what they've got on this page at home, and it's quite basic materials that you can pick up at Games Workshop.
Very basic, yeah.
And the thing is, if you've never built terrain before, doing something like this is very addictive.
Mm-hmm.
Very addictive.
I found that,
and I find speaking to people, a lot of people who haven't built terrain before, the reason they're not built is because they think, I can't do that.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
It's having the confidence to have a go at it yourself.
This is step by step. If you follow this step by step, you can't go wrong.
And you can. Going on from this, you could make your own hills. You could make your own sort of little houses. There's a bit about how to sort of carve cobblestones. I'm loving how in depth this is.
Yeah.
And just going back, comparing it to the old source books, and sometimes they were almost a little bit rushed, and not that it missed out steps, but it kind of glossed over some of the steps.
Oh yeah, there was jumps. There was definite jumps where you had to sort of join the pieces yourself. How did it get?
Whereas this is very. It's very structured. You've got a very kind of in-depth way of doing it, and it's over. Is it 5-6 pages?
They've given themselves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 full pages on how to build a Hobbit hole, which is why it's not rushed and there's no jumps. They've not cut any corners with this, which is great. Keep doing this, please. Keep doing this.
I love it.
This makes me happy.
We've already got a couple of these kits, haven't we?
Yep.
So we picked up a couple of these at Warhammer Fest. I'm going to be having a go at one of these fairly soon. So I might document it. We'll see how we get on.
Yeah. We actually did say we were going to do a Shire board build video, which I think we still can. I think now the supplement's out. If enough people want to see that, comment below. Make sure you let us know, and it'd be nice to do a joint one actually.
It would, yeah.
Nice to do a joint one.
Yeah. I'll see how the master works.
I'll see if Luke's available.
Whey!
But yeah, so that's how to build a Hobbit hole, and it is great and it looks great. And don't be put off by looking at the end picture and thinking I could never do that. Trust me, give it a go.
It's so step by step.
And just hone your craft.
Yeah,
hone your craft.
The more you practice,
the
worst that can happen is if you don't like it, you pull it apart. Realize where you went wrong. Start again.
Yeah.
So the equipment that you've used up to that point probably wouldn't have been that expensive. It would be a couple of quid. So
it's bits of foam and bits of card and
just have a go.
Flop, it costs nothing.
And make sure that if you do have a go, that you're posting it up in the Top Table Gaming Community.
That would
Facebook
be great.
page.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Make sure you post it in the Facebook page and tag us in it and let us see it. And I'd love to see that.
Yeah, so would I. Definitely.
I love stealing people's ideas.
We could have a whole table's worth of Hobbit holes, like a massive table, a full-on Hobbiton with everybody's table on it. Everybody's Hobbit hole on the table.
That would be cool. Maybe we might do a competition, Hobbit hole competition. Maybe.
Watch this space. Let's have a think about that.
That's an idea.
Yeah. Cool. So and then we're getting towards the end of the book now.
Yes.
So there is an appendix, which kind of covers bits that wouldn't necessarily fit into the rest of.
Yeah,
the
they couldn't shoehorn them in for one reason or another, whether it be timeline, whether it be thematic. But again, you're getting profiles that you might want to use and really like, which is cool.
So one of the profiles that has been missing for a very, very, very long time was Golfimble.
Yes.
So Golfimble, for those of you who don't know, he is a model that came out in probably about 2003, 2004, perhaps.
Very, very early.
It may have even been earlier than that. However, he came in and he disappeared very, very quickly, didn't he?
Yeah.
And the reason for that is I think there was some sort of IP issue with the use of the name and things like that. So the model has appeared in a few supplements since as a generic captain, but Golfimble himself has never ever had a profile since Scouring of the Shire.
Nope.
So it's great to see him back. I love this model. I think it's a really cool model. It's kind of that. It's a generic, ugly, fat-looking orc.
It's an old school orc.
It is, isn't it?
It's the kind of orcs, obviously, the original Lord of the Rings animation. You know that one.
It is.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yes,
it reminds me of the orcs from there, just with the red eyes and
the teeth coming out from the bottom jaw. So it's great to see, and he's just recently been re-released as well, and at a fantastic price. So that was great.
Ruffians.
The Ruffians.
The Ruffians price is
that's
amazing.
another little.
It's a gem.
£30 for 12 models.
For 12 models.
Which
metal.
With metal, and I don't think anybody was expecting that.
No.
So that's great to see anyway.
Keep that up.
So I'm not going to go through his profile because you guys can enjoy that yourselves when you have a look.
But he's a good hero, I'll say that.
He's decent. He's decent, and
it's that makes it good.
Yes, exactly. And he does sit within the Angmar faction. So for those of you that were interested. And then next up there are just a few scenarios which kind of fill out and flesh out some of the rest of the stories from the Shire.
Just some flashpoints in the history of the Shire that don't fit into the storyline of the original scenarios.
So you got the Battle of Greenfields, which had Bandbraspal Oratuk versus Golfimble, which is quite a historic battle in the Shire. You have got the Wolves of Winter, which is again from, I think this is from the Fell Winter, which was very cold. The Brandywine froze over, so all the wolves started coming over to the Shire, and hobbits were getting attacked. So this is where Gandalf helped them out as well.
We can do. I've got them painted in that scheme.
Watch this space. So that'll be good to get a playthrough of that. And then this is one that I thought was really cool as well. It's the Road to Rivendell, and basically it's trying to it's Aragorn, some rangers and some elves, keeping Bilbo safe on his journey to Rivendell. I think that's just a really nice little scenario, which kind of almost pays homage back to the Fellowship of the Ring as well. And that's it.
That's it. Done, dusted.
So there's quite a lot in this book. There is.
The end.
There and back again.
That's been the Scouring the Shire, our book review. Overall thoughts, if it wasn't already very, very obvious, I really, really love this book. I like the fact that it's a bit more of a light-hearted approach to strategy battle game, with the low model count, the small boards, the fun profiles. That's what it feels like to me. It really feels like they've sort of said, here you go, here's a book for you just to have fun with.
I think, going back, I know I'm comparing this to Gondor at War, and the reason I'm doing that is because obviously that was the first one. This is the first one in the new SBG, Middle Earth SBG. This is the second book, so obviously that's the what we're going to be comparing it to. But that kind of felt very much more of a mass battle with a couple of odd scenarios in there, which were kind of smaller scale. But this is very much small scale, and it really fits kind of the narrative of that of that chapter in the book. And I love the fact that Games Workshop have made smaller table sizes, lower model counts, and actually it almost feels like you're not being forced to buy tons and tons and tons of models just to play even some of the smaller scenarios. You can play the majority of this book with a handful of models.
Yeah, it feels like they've sort of, excuse the pun, they've took the shackles off.
Yes.
They're not sticking to these guidelines of 4x4 boards, 600 points ish. It's just have some fun, some really cool scenarios, and it's right up my street, especially now because we are so busy with channel work. My hobby time and gaming time has really took
very rare we ever get any games in other than what we play on the channel.
This is something we could literally be filming one day and go, should we just
get play another scenario from Scouring?
2x2, end of the table, an hour and a half.
Easy.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So,
and I love the fact as well, just one last point.
Yes.
They've almost gone back to the roots a little bit. What did people enjoy from the original supplements? With the kind of the building a hobbit hole, I feel like they've kind of gone back to the roots of the old supplements and the old source books, which for me, nostalgic, and just kind of ticks that box.
I really think that Jay, Rob, and the team they are. I mean, they do. We know they do. We know that they listen to the community. We know that already. But it really feels like they are trying to please, which is great for me. It's great. This is
what people
supplement I've wanted for ages. Everything else has been really about, this hero's so good and he can do this and he can buff your arm and it's great and
he's 200 points
that's
and he's
fantastic because we love that. But this is like, it's kind of just got me in the feels. Like I really I want to play it now. Actually. I want to play it now. So don't forget, guys, you can pick up your Scouring the Shire supplement book through our Element Games affiliate link. Check the link below. You will get a nice little discount. And what happens is it will click some computery tick somewhere, and Element Games will know that we sent you, and they will give us a big thumbs up, and they allow us to do stuff like this. Which is great, and we want to keep doing more of it. And it just makes us look good. So please do that. We also have different links down for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon, which really helps the channel. So check those out. Stay tuned till the end of the video, and you will see some previews for other videos that we've done in the Middle Earth series. But I think that's it, Ben.
That's it.
I've been Top Table Steve,
and I've been Top Table Ben,
and we will see you very, very soon, probably in Bree.
Definitely in the Green Dragon.
We'll see you there. Take care, guys.
See you later, guys.